Hello, everybody. January 23rd, Tuesday morning in Japan, Kenshiro Teraji is fighting Carlos Canizales for his WBC and WBA junior flyweight titles. And on the co-main, you got Dalakian fighting Seigo Yuri Akui for Dalakian's WBA flyweight. Now, I'm not gonna lie, these two fights were very hard to pick a winner in. Just bear with me, we gonna get around these picks. We gonna get around these bets, and we gonna make some money. So for our first fight, Dalakian is defending his flyweight belt for the 7th time against Seigo Yuri Akui from Japan. Dalakian is 22-0 with 15 knockouts. His last fight was in January of 2023 against Daniel Jimenez. He went the distance with him, all 12 rounds, won by a unanimous decision in a very close fight. He fought once in 2021. He fought once in 2020, and he fought once in 2019. So you know what kind of fighter Dalakian is. He's not a very stay busy kind of fighter. Right now he's 36 years old. He never really had the power at flyweight to really convince me. He couldn't stop Valoria. He couldn't stop his last couple of guys. He does rely on his footwork. He circles well. He angles well. He changes levels on his shots, and he smothers his opponents and whenever he needs to smother them. He's a very difficult fighter to deal with. He's very pesky, and he can make you look bad. However, this inactivity does make you question a little bit. And because he lacks a little bit of punching power, and he is inactive, so that is going to affect his sharpness. It's going to affect his punch output. Against the Daniel Jimenez fight, he did look a little bit flat. In the later rounds, I want to say actually after the 7th round, he just stopped throwing punches and he was content with just moving around. It was hard to give him more than 2 rounds after that 7th round. It didn't look like it looked like a very uninspired performance by Dalakian. And though he does move really well, I'm just worried about his punch output and all the inactivity. It might be another Rigondeaux situation here. Seigo Yuri Akui is 18-2. He's a former junior flyweight, moved up. He was knocked out by Junto Nakatani back in 2017. This guy is a 9-year pro. So he's been fighting. He's 28 years old, and he's been fighting since he was 19. His last fight was in February of last year against Jason Vason. He went 10 rounds with him and won a unanimous decision. He's also that kind of fighter. He fought once in 2023, once in 2022, once in 21, once in 2020. But he is 28 years old, so the inactivity might not affect him as much. He's never been 12 rounds. He's been 10 rounds. His last 4 fights with a TKO mixed in, but he's never been 12. So his punch output later in the fights might be a little bit questionable. But in his last fight against Jason Vason, he did show that he had a tight defense. He has good balance when he throws punches. He's fundamentally sound. He throws a really good 1-2, and he has a really good variation with his combinations. He comes forward with a high shell guard, and he does work the body well when he's in range. He'll dig in a sharp uppercut or 2 when he is in range, and then he'll step back. He is a really good fighter. Really sharp, really tight fighter. I think this one is a hard one to pick. I think Dalakian is a very witty fighter. I think he's a very tricky fighter. He's gonna move a lot. He's gonna use his legs. But I think Seigo is gonna break him down. He's gonna hit him with body shots. Dalakian's been out of the ring, so it's gonna take him a few rounds to adjust to the pace, to adjust his range. So it might be tricky down the stretch. It might be tricky. It might go to the cards, and if it does go to the cards, they are in Japan. Who knows where this one might go? Will they like Dalakian style, or will they like Sego's come forward style? We'll have to see. But I have no winner for this fight. Now on to the main event. Taraji is defending his WBA and his WBC light flyweight title against Carlos Canizales. Alright, Taraji is 21-1 with 14 knockouts. His last fight was in September of 2023. It was his second fight of the year against Hecky Butler. He knocked him out in the 9th round. And that was a really good performance by Taraji. He showed that he keeps a steady jab, very stiff jab. He uses his legs well. He shows in and out movement for both defense and offense. When he uses a straight right, he ducks under it, or he'll throw a body shot and then step back. So he transitions from offense to defense really well. Like I said, he uses his legs really well for a lot of reasons. The amazing boy, man. He TKO'd Hiroti Kyoguchi in 7 rounds back in November of 2022, and that was a unification bout. So I have really high hopes for Taraji in this fight. When I look at Canizales, his last fight was in September of 2023. It was his first and only fight of the year against the Cuban Daniel Moaning. It was a technical decision. They stopped it on cuts. I believe it was an accidental headbutt. They went to the cards after 8 or 9 rounds, and Canizales got the victory on also a very close fight because Daniel Montellon was jabbing him, and Canizales was susceptible to that jab, and he doesn't have a jab himself. He's very hittable. Montellon was hitting him with some body shots and some quick counters whenever he got in range, and he actually hurt Canizales several times before they had to stop that fight. Canizales was hittable, but he took away that victory that night. Look, because it does look like movement and angles does trouble Canizales. He lost to Esteban Bermudez years ago. He got stopped in the 6th round. He's been 12 rounds once, but like I said, man, he telegraphs his power shots way too much, and he doesn't come in with a jab. So he's going to be really easy to read for Taraji to both counter him, and whenever he gets in range, he's just going to hit him with the jab whenever he can. For my picks, I have Akui and Dalakian going over. I have Taraji winning this fight by knockout or stoppage or TKO. And I have a parlay going with Akui for the money line, Mayor for the money line, and Taraji for the money line. Now I know I'm taking a big chance right here, but I'm going to put a little bit of faith in Akui. I think he will transition to be a volume puncher just enough to get the decision, because Dalakian is a little bit of a muted fighter, especially with some inactivity. I think Akui will and should pounce on him early and get those early rounds and come away with the decision. So that's why I'm going Akui money line, Mayor money line for this weekend on Saturday. And then I got Kenshiro Teraji. I already explained why I got him for the knockout. But anyway, I got those 3 on a parlay for the money line.